Okay, so we're gonna call the meeting to order. And first item is the pledge of the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda tonight will be the public hearing for two land divisions that we have tonight in the town. And I just wanted to go over the rules for public hearings prior to starting. If everybody could sign in, that would be appreciated if you're not a member of the planning board. If you'd like to speak, come to the microphone, which we don't have a microphone because we got a new microphone system, right?
Right, you can just
Central one, it's a central one right here, so.
Okay, so to the front
It's
there.
new.
We would appreciate it if one person could speak at a time so we can hear clearly the comments. State your full name, physical address. And this is not a public debate. Just keep in mind if you could address the comments and concerns to the planning board and try to keep your comments to a duration of 3 to 5 minutes. That would be appreciated. And that goes for both of the public hearings tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
So the first application is for Stymus Farms on Maple Street. And is the applicant here? So is there anything you'd like to go over first?
It's pretty basic. He's already, the way the equipment is nowadays, we can't get around his house with all our equipment, so I might as well, he's already got all the stuff in my side yard, so.
Yep.
After these many years, I might as well just sell it to the poor gentleman so he can put a septic system in his field.
Okay.
In my spare patch.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Dennis is he's the owner of the property, and this is for our subdivision on Maple Street. And it's up near the corner of the Miller Road. Yep. And it's on the north side of the road. And he's provided the map with the proposed parcels that'll be split. And pretty clear if anybody'd like to see it, we got it here for review. Proposed use is for the neighbor to have an additional property, right? Additional acres. Total subdivision will be 1.72 acres total. And the entire lot is how many? 1.72 is the proposed division, and then the entire lot is, how much is that?
Not even big.
Okay, 1.72 is the total. Yeah. Okay. So any comments on that? Do the seeker first.
You asked, right? There was no public comment.
Did we do the seeker last time? I think we did.
We have to do the final secret.
Yeah, okay. So we need to do that prior to the resolutions, right? Yeah. You got that? Okay. So this will be the, this is the,
Did you want to close the public hearing? Are you done with the public hearing?
yeah, I guess we need a motion to close the public hearing then.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We want to do a roll call on the vote for that, or we good? Okay. So this is part two, seeker. The town is the lead agency on this subdivision. And these are the questions that are applicable. And I'll just read through these, and the board can comment if they feel any of those are any kind of an impact. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Will the proposed action result in any change in the use or intensity of the land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that have caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affected existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supply or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? So we need a motion from the board on those.
I move we declare the negative seeker.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the next item would be the resolutions. And this is the resolution, I can read it. Town of Berry Planning Board Resolution adopting a negative declaration of environmental significance for the proposed subdivision at 13991 Maple Street under seeker. Whereas on or about September 15th, Stymus Farms, Dennis Stymus, the applicant, submitted an application for subdivision review located at 13991 Maple Street. And whereas the proposed action involves subdividing property into two lots, whereas the applicant prepared a short environmental assessment form for the proposed action, which is attached here to, and whereas the planning board assumed lead agency status, whereas the planning board held a public hearing on the proposed action at the Berry Town Hall on November 10th, 2025, whereas the planning board has considered the content of the application, the SEAF, and the relevant public input, whereas the planning board has thoroughly analyzed the relevant concerns discussed in the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and has determined that no significant adverse environmental impacts will result from the proposed subdivision. And now, therefore, the planning board finds that the subdivision will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore the planning board further resolves to adopt a negative declaration of environmental significance with respect to subdivision the subdivision at 13991 Maple Street, and therefore the planning board hereby adopts the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and incorporates it herein. Whereas on or about September 15th, Dennis Stymus Farms submitted an application for subdivision review located at 13991 Maple Street. And whereas the planning board has thoroughly analyzed the relevant concerns, now therefore the planning board hereby approves the application of minor subdivision for final subdivision approval made by Stymus Farms, Dennis Stymus. Okay. Motion.
Not a vote.
Okay, we got to vote on that. Motion for that.
I move we adopt that resolution. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Thanks. Next is the Young Summer public hearing for tax map 117 over on the tax map 117-124-212 over on Woozy Road, correct? Yep. And Wes is gonna take this one, and I'm gonna abstain from this. Should we go through the members who will be abstaining from that?
Sure, we can, because I think we need the alternate. Okay. Keeler,
Here, I'm going to abstain from this.
Wes Miller,
Here.
Don Patey,
Here.
Kurt Dudley,
Abstained.
Ben Mathis,
Abstain.
Jean Peglo. Abstain. Stephen Hartling's excused. Gary Palmer
Here.
and Tom Decker.
Here.
Now, we do need to vote and establish the alternates as voting members tonight. So we need a motion for the alternates to be voting members for this subdivision application.
Tom Decker and Gary Palmer, voting members.
All in favor? Hey, we need a second for that.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
No, I
No.
said.
Oh, I, okay, I thought I heard it
It was
opposed.
after, yeah, after that, sorry, during trial.
What's that, Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. The, first I'm gonna start, and just read the notice that went, first in the newspaper. The notice is hereby given that the Town of Barry Planning Board, Orleans County, State of New York, will hold a public hearing on Monday, November 10th at 2025 at 6:30 at the Barry Town Hall, 14317 West Barry Road, New York. The purpose of this hearing is to consider an application for the minor subdivision of land pursuant to Article 3, Section 350-145D 19E2B of the Town Code. The property is located at Poozy Road in Albion, New York, identified as tax map number 117-1-24-212, and is situated within the agricultural residential district. The proposed subdivision will create two parcels, one containing an existing barn structure and the other to be developed by the proposed substation. All interested persons, either for or against, are invited to attend and will be given an opportunity to be heard. The second one was a letter to neighbors, and that was the Town of Barry Planning Board has scheduled a public hearing on November 10th at 6:30 to consider approval of land subdivision for property located at Joseph Mathis, property tax ID on Poozy Road, and is situated within the agriculture residential district. Proposed subdivision will create two parcels, one containing the existing barn structure and the other to be developed for proposed project substation. Review is being conducted in accordance with various zoning ordinance pursuant to Article 3, Section 350, 140, D19E 2B of the Town Code regarding the subdivision of property. The property owner, as a property owner within 500 feet of the subject property, you are officially notified of your right to attend the and present your comments to the public at the public hearing. Written comments may also be submitted. So at this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to public comment. And again, if you have a comment, I invite you to come up to the front here so we can pick you up on the microphone, and then the board can hear you be clearly your comments or concerns about the subdivision of this property.
Do we want the applicant to just maybe present first?
That would be perfect. Yes.
I appreciate the opportunity. I don't know that there was anything specific to add. This is a fairly simple subdivision. It's a minor subdivision under the code. The subdivision would enable the development of subdivided parcel to be included as part of the Heritage Wind project. The subdivided parcel is for the point of interconnection substation, the arrangements, the design. A lot of those details have already gone through a thorough environmental review in process for many years, with originally Article 10, Siting Board, and then more recently ORES under Article 8. That portion of the project is fully permitted. The environmental impacts associated with that are fully addressed already as part of the review in Article 8. So none of those issues are really related to the application that's in front of the board right now. If there's any questions, I don't want to belabor any of these points. If there's any questions from the board, we'd be happy to take them. But otherwise, like I said, I think it's a fairly simple application, and we would ask the board to approve this.
Very good, thank you. Are there any other comments from the public? Then we go to seeker, right?
I don't know if we officially opened the public hearing, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to, yes. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second,
A second.
all approved? Oh, aye.
Abstain.
Do I need to do a call on that one? No.
Yeah. But we-
Okay. Okay.
Secret.
Yep. Moving on to the seeker. I'm going to read the seeker, and then if there are no comments, or if it is a no to the answer, I will. If there's a yes, I expect a response. Put that. And the seeker is, the answers are no or small impact may occur, or a moderate or large impact may occur. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adequate land use plan or zoning regulations? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of land use? Will the proposed action impact the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect the existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, and if it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public, private water supply or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impact the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in natural resources, wetland, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No one had comments on that, and they were all no's then.
Okay. The applicant has proposed to subdivide one lot into two. There are no or minor environmental impact associated with the land separation. The subdivision is related to the Heritage Wind project 21-00026, and the subdivided parcel will contain the project substation. Hereby, Heritage Wind receives its final permit for the Office of the Renewable Energy Siting on January 13th, 2022, and a modified permit on April 15th, 2025, and permit modifications on June 28th, 2024, and December 2nd, 2024. Because this subdivision application is part of the entire action of the wind project, the environmental review of the substation is under the Office of Renewable Energy Siting jurisdiction, and the town rules on this finding, and the town relies on this finding. And we had a motion on that. Never mind. I'm getting fat. I'm going backwards instead of forward. The Town of Barry Planning Board resolution adopting a negative declaration of environmental significance for the proposed subdivision of Poozy Road. Whereas on or about September 25th, 2025, Heritage Wind LLC, in care of Young Summer LLC, the applicant, submitted an application for subdivision review and to be located at Joseph Mathis property at tax ID 117.1-24, 212 on Poozy Road. And whereas the proposed action involves subdividing one lot into two, parcel A will contain existing barn structure and parcel B will have a project substation for the Heritage Wind project. And whereas on September 25th, 2025, the applicant prepared a short environmental assessment form for the proposed action. And whereas the planning board assumed lead agency status pursuant to 6 NYCCR 617.6 B1. And whereas the planning board held a public hearing on the proposed action on November 10th, 2025. And whereas the planning board has considered the content of the application, the SEAF, and any relevant public input. And whereas one parcel of subdivision will be utilized for the Heritage Wind project and its decision and siting permit on January 13th, 2022. The Office of Renewable Energy Siting found that the project avoids, minimizes, and mitigates to the maximum intent practical potential adverse environmental impacts for the facility, and the planning board relies on this decision for seeker. And whereas the planning board has thoroughly analyzed the relevant concerns discussed in the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and has determined that no significant adverse environmental impact will result from the proposed subdivision of land. And now, therefore, the planning board hereby finds that this subdivision will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. And therefore, the planning board further resolves to adopt a negative declaration of environmental significance with respect to the proposed action. And therefore, the planning board here adopts the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and incorporates it as written. Now I'm going to ask for a vote on this. I'm sorry. I need a second on the. I need a second on the motion.
Second motion.
Okay. I'm gonna ask for a vote by member. Tom,
Abstain?
abstain. Kurt Dudley,
Abstained.
Steve Harling is excused. Ben Mathis,
Abstained.
Gary Palmer,
Yes.
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Gene Peglow,
Spain.
John DePady,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Okay. The seeker has passed a negative declaration. And thank you for your vote. The town of Berry Planning Board resolution granting approval for the proposed subdivision on Poozy Road. Whereas on or about September 25th, 2025, Heritage Wind LLC, Young Summer LLC, the applicant, submitted an application for subdivision review to be located on Joseph Mathis property at tax ID 117-124-212 on Poozy Road. The proposed action, whereas the planning board determined the proposed action to be an unlisted action and assumed lead agency pursuant to seeker, and whereas the planning board issued a negative declaration on November 10th, 2025, and whereas the materials submitted to the applicant comply with the requirements of the town code, chapter 287. Now, therefore, the planning board finds that subdivision is safe for the public health, safety, and welfare, and the plan and layout is in the manner that is reasonable and is the best interest of the community. Now, therefore, the planning board does hereby grant preliminary and final approval the subdivision of the proposed action. May I ask for a second?
I second.
Yep, thank you. And then again, we're going to do a call. Tom Keeler,
Abstain.
Kurt Dudley,
Abstained.
Steve Harling's excused. Ben Mathis,
Abstained.
Gary Palmer,
Yes.
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Gene Peglow,
Spain.
John DePady,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Okay.
Okay.
We're done.
All right. Next item is the approval of the meeting minutes from our meeting we had in October.
I don't know, what's the map?
So we need a motion for the meeting minutes from October next. Since everybody has time to view.
We approved the minutes for the meeting of October 13th, as written.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Next item is the new business, which We don't have any, if anybody, unless somebody has something. And if not, the next item would be the October County Plan Board, which I didn't.
I went to.
Yep, I didn't do that.
Yep. There were 4 referrals to the county. All 4 of them procedural. The first one, Carlton, they were all from Carlton. Carlton finished their floodplain local laws, and that was adopted by the county. Second one, adoption of local law extending the moratorium for wind energy deriving facilities. And I'll do all 3 of them together. The next one was adoption of a local law number 5, extending the moratorium for installation of solar energy systems. And the third one was an adoption of local law number 6, extending the moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of all apps or special use permits for large energy storage facilities. All of those were relative to them finding with the shutdown funding for their comprehensive plan. So they asked for a moratorium for another 6 months.
Okay. Anything else, Henry? Good.
That's it.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Need a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
No.
Good.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you? Hey, Sue.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you just gotta go to the, zoning officer now.
Yeah, me too. I gotta stop the factor.
Just take it.
To the county, yeah, go to the county.
Oh, okay.
And there a couple of times. Yeah, I better just stop.
So you just gotta sign that. You wanna take it with you? You wanna get out of here?
Sure.
And,
Yep.
Here's the rest of the paper. And then copy of your information. And you're gonna mail something?
Yes, I will mail you the decision and your part of the statement.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
You got elected to
February
Yeah.
20th.
Okay. It's gonna be, appoint somebody else.
Steve Harlan. No, Steve Harlan. Harlan.
Steve Harlan's gonna be there.
Okay. I think, yeah, I asked you earlier when he said. Have a good night, Ben.
I know. No, we're gonna say.
Thank you for getting all that out.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm putting it down.
Which is funny because.
I'm gonna go pick the copy out.
Thank you for your patience.
We'll be here a couple more times.
You'll be here a couple more times?
2 more times.
Oh,
That's when I hear that.
more divisions?
More division.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all fine. And then the other one. It's still been far.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Just to get.
It's just a safety guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see a lady from that. He made that nice note.
Yeah, it's a very, I would think very special. So.
Oh, yeah.
There's some things that, certainly, it's inside, it's hard. There's a lot of people, but this kind of stuff. I would recommend people. I've been through all.
You copy it?
You have it.
Like,
I see that
yeah.
for something. Can I just see it for a second? Thank you.
And now, do the same with that.
Yep.
We'll be here again 2 more times. Don't worry. Yeah.
Oh, you got more you're gonna do?
And the other one's going on.
We didn't have this law till about 6 months ago. Yeah, so it's brand new.
Oh,
for us.
you're looking for.
Yeah.
I think it was a setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Think about that. It could have been, huh? Yeah. I never thought of it that way. You're right.
As I was approaching this one, it seems like somebody knew something.
Yeah.
This is here, personal one. So.
For what it's worth, I mean, they stripped the whole thing.
So, yeah.
That officer can't be excited. Yeah, so we please drive up.
Yeah.
Yeah.